D-U-N-K, or I think he calls himself Super Sexy D now. Man, I don't even know.
Type in Dan Richards and then go to people and let's see what we can do here.
There
Dan
he is.
Richards.
No, yeah, there he is. Here's Dan Richards.
Okay,
go to maybe his media. Where would it
go to media?
Media, and then you'd have to scroll down a bit.
All right, let's see if we can find this picture.
Well, I am trying to rise above it, but what I'm saying is, in that process, he made some statements, and I challenged him to bring evidence for the statements he was making, and he couldn't. And in turn, he was just trying to defame my reputation.
With the Diddy picture.
So he found the old picture of Diddy that he probably pulled off, my Twitter or Facebook, and I had pointed out how, look, if you could, and then he tried to suggest that, I was at Diddy parties and I was involved with this whole racket, this whole disgusting. Come on, man. And it's like, what's disgusting, like I have family and I have people that know me know I would never be involved with this nonsense. People that have known me my whole life, and throughout the hip hop days and music industry days, I was never down with Diddy. Diddy is whack to us.
You know what? And this has to be said too, because people have this idea that like Hollywood or the music industry or the movie industry are all like they live under the same, like literally in the same room together at all times. And that's not how it is. Is there some weird shit that goes on? Obviously, there's some horrible people. Yeah. But like you look at this, there was a story, I believe it was, I still got to go check this. I think Mike Tyson, I'm pretty sure he told it himself on his podcast, but it was told to me secondhand. But Mike Tyson was explaining a scenario where this kind of, what a picture can look like and how it affects people, especially when they have a big platform. And it's like, he said he was at this party, like very public party, with cameramen everywhere taking pictures of whoever, celebrities, non-celebrities, the whole bit. And some guy comes up to him like, "Oh my God, Mike, I'm the biggest fan, bro. I'm so happy to meet you," whatever. He's like, yeah, man, no problem, thanks, whatever. And then like the cameraman's right there. He's like, "Oh, can I get a picture of you?" He's like, "Yeah, we'll do it." So they take a picture, and then a week later, FBI shows up to his house and goes, "Mr. Tyson, we got to talk with you." He's like, "About what?" And they're like, "How do you know this man?" And they hold up the picture of them like glad hand and like they've been friends forever. Turns out the guy murked like 4 people that weekend before. He was like a serial killer or something.
Tyson had no idea.
And Tyson's like, "Listen, man, he was just a fan. I met him at a party. I have no fucking idea who this dude is." And they're like, "Okay, whatever." But he goes, "Forever people are going to ask me about that picture." So when you look at the Epsteins, when you look at the Diddys, when you look at these people who are around all these powerful places, all they had to do was get a picture with you. Or say you were at the same place. And now forever, in this case, it even happened to you, like someone can be like, "Oh, how do you know this guy? What were you doing with him?" And it sucks because there's always going to be that 1% out there where people are like, "Oh, maybe he did know him," or whatever. And I empathize with that because it's like, I don't know who the fuck I've taken pictures with in my life or what they're going to be accused of later. Like, who's
on your podcast right now?
Exactly, bro. Exactly. So it's like, hindsight's 20/20 on these things.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It calls for context.
Yes.
And that's what's so important, even in my space, history and alternative history. Context. This situation with Diddy, where Dunking Dan is putting a picture out and trying to mislead people into believing that I was part of this disgusting stuff that Diddy was doing, which is not true. I literally talked about the context in the picture. It was actually taken mid-argument between me and Diddy. It was getting close to being physical.
You were arguing with Diddy?
Yeah, he was coming to steal my artist, man. I told him he can't get up on that stage. And it wasn't at a Diddy party. It was at South by Southwest in Texas, Austin, Texas.
When was this? 15 years ago, 20 years ago?
More than 15. It would probably be like 2008, 9, 10.
Wow.
Maybe.
Diddy was trying to...
Yeah, I was active in the music industry throughout like the 90s into the 2000s. And but yeah, so what happened was I had an artist who was emerging. I had spent a couple of years working with him, developing him, putting money into him, working day and night. You know what it's like. You wake up in the morning, you go to the gym, you go for a walk to clear your head, and then you're working all day till 11 at night sometimes. That's what it was like for me in the music industry to build this artist up, and others. And I worked hard at this. And this was like a big crowning achievement because he was headlining a big show. It was our show basically, and he was the headliner, and he was making waves from the work and money and effort that we were putting in addition to his talent. But we were helping drive that, and this wasn't uncommon. I have other friends in the music industry that were like, "Oh, just wait till Diddy starts showing up on the tour bus." Try to steal your artists, and so it happened. And so Diddy flew into Texas specifically to get on stage, just thinking I'm Diddy and I can do whatever I want. And he did. He managed to get past me. And then, just to get up on stage to align himself with my artist, to hang on to relevance, right? Diddy's already getting old and trying to remain relevant with the young, cool kids. And that's what happened. And so he was there, and I explained to him a bit who I was and what my situation, my position was with this artist. And I was like, no, this is performance. You can't get up on stage. We got into an argument. Diddy got pissed, and his bodyguards started coming around. And right as we got into, and I was getting heated, and right during the argument, somebody from the press came over. They knew who I was because I was a CEO of I started literally the first genre-specific digital retail store in hip-hop. I had a big emerging digital label. I pioneered a lot of stuff. My company, my efforts, we were in Rolling Stone, Billboard, XX Magazine said Anyextee is the person to speak to about the future of the music industry. We put out the first podcast in hip-hop history.
You did?
We did the first live web stream in hip-hop history. We did the first digital downloads, first digital albums. I was like on the phone with ISR.
You're like the godfather of the hip-hop digital age.
The untold story.
Yeah, the untold story.
Yeah, and I go back way before that, because before that I was putting out vinyl records and CDs. I was doing distribution. I owned multiple record labels. I managed artists. I was an artist myself. So I've worn a lot of hats in the music industry. But in this particular role, I told Diddy, no, it's not happening. And we were getting into an argument, and somebody from the press came over, and they were like, oh, the CEO and Diddy. I was like, let's get a picture of you two together. So we're like fighting with each other, arguing, and then we turn and we take the photo. And if you find the photo, you'll see that...
Let's find the photo. I need it. Diddy and Anyextee.
Yeah, see if... I don't know if it'll come up that way.
You could try it on Twitter. Type in Diddy and Anyextee.
Yeah. If you go to... Yeah, try that.
How's this for? This is transparency. See what you're doing? You're telling us to pull it up.
I'm just trying to be my true, authentic self, man.
I love that. That's
well, because there's no skeletons in my closet. I'm happy to elaborate and let people know what really happened. I think context is important.
I agree.
And if we just look at things on the surface, things are not always what they appear to be. This is why I'm an esoteric researcher. Yes. I like to go deeper and look.
That's right.
Yeah. So let's see.
Anyextee, not tree. Sorry.
Anyextee.
All right, go to media, and let's see what we got. Down. See, it might have already gotten wiped.
Try. It'll be on Dunking Dan. Go to Dunking Dan, and then you might just have to scroll down. A bunch of tweets.
You got to talk to our mutual friend Luke, because Luke Caverns is like, he's the Mr. No enemies. Talks with everyone, whatever. I know
Luke's everybody's friend.
Right. He talks with Dan. He talks with you. Like, stuff like this should not play out in public.
It'll be DEDUNK. Oh, I think he calls himself Super Sexy D now. Man, I don't even know.
Type in Dan Richards and then go to people, and let's see what we can do here.
There
Dan
he is.
Richards.
No, yeah, there he is. Here's Dan Richards.
Okay.
Go to maybe his media. Where would it
go to media?
Media, and then you'd have to scroll down a bit.
All right. Let's see if we can find this picture.
Keep going. It was a couple of weeks ago.
All right. No. That was him
right there. There
Rogan.
it is to the right. Me and Diddy. Before the dreadlocks.
That's you?
That's me.
That's you.
It's me before the dreads.
No, it's not.
It's
what
Anyextee.
The fuck?
And I had dreads before that, too. I had dreads in the early 90s. I cut them out. But yeah, this is years ago, man.
What a shirt, by the way. It just says cocaine.
Yeah.
He was different. Yeah. Wow, that's you.
Yeah.
You got Egyptified. Something happened.
I had dreads before this, so this was a period of my life where the music industry was transforming me, and that's why I got out of the music industry. But the whole point, look at our faces. Nobody looks happy.
Not happy.
Why? We're in the middle of an argument, and there's event staff behind us. His bodyguards are behind him.
Although I just gotta say, if we were doing some green lines,
yeah,
he's straight and you're tilted. I'm just saying.
Wait, what's the meaning of that?
Well, that means he's got the leverage.
Psychological. Yeah, I'm also tall and lanky, so I kind of tend to lean off to one side. But it's also because I'm probably up in his face, like, you are not coming on stage.
That's exactly what it looks like.
And he's like, whatever, man. So anyways, long story short, he ended up on stage, and I couldn't flex past his bodyguards. I tried. But anyway, long story short, never been a fan of Diddy. This picture's taken out of context. What's he saying? How much baby oil? See, ridiculous. You know, absolutely disgusting. And to do this, to try to hurt my reputation, I didn't even attack him in a way where, you know, I was saying anything negative. I was basically like, hey, here's what I'm trying to correct and set the record straight, bring the facts.
Hit show more on Anyextee's response. Alas, let's get this on the record for people. I want to read this.
We're also referencing Jimmy Bright Insight here, another one of my #1 fans.
All right, Jimmy Corsetti and you made the claim that I'm lying and accused me of fabricating my mentorship with JAW.
That's John Anthony West.
Okay. These accusations are untrue, and worse, they're being used to distract from Jimmy misleading the public. You also falsely claimed I worked for JAW for a short period and that this was the extent of our relationship. This is a bold and damaging lie, revealing how low you're willing to go. It's also an example of debunking without proper research exactly what you claim to oppose yet actively participate in. Since you made the accusations, the burden of proof is on you to back them up. I've already agreed to present my evidence once you provide yours. I even offered to wager money on it, but you won't accept because you know your claims are baseless, designed to tarnish my reputation and frame me as a liar. You're a good writer. As for the P. Diddy nonsense, no, I'm not in any of his tapes because I never attended the parties. Not even one?
Not even one.
Okay.
We wouldn't go. Diddy's whack. Why would we go to a Diddy party?
Just making sure. That picture was from when Diddy crashed my event in Texas to try to get on stage and poach the artist I spent time and money developing. I told him no, and it led to a heated argument interrupted by the press who took that photo. Neither of us is smiling because we don't like each other. I've always seen Diddy as a culture vulture and a charlatan, much like some people in this space. What do? You dig up an old photo and distort the truth, trying to make it seem like I was aligned with Diddy. That's a low and disgusting tactic, but it speaks more about you than it does about me. Wow. Hey guys, if you haven't already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. It's a huge help. Thank you. Dropping the mic there. I respect it, man. I understand exactly what you mean. Context is everything, and people will just try to they'll create a red herring. It has nothing to do with the argument you're having right now. Like, oh, what were we doing with Diddy? And they can attack you, but you're in the music industry for a long time.
It's all, that's why I get out, man. It's all smoke and mirrors, right? And in some ways, you know, like, all right, so for me, I remember I was always in the hip hop culture, but I got into the more lyrical, you know, thoughtful hip hop, positive hip hop, conscious hip hop. But as I expanded my business, I realized that's not what sells. We had an incredible group from the Bronx known as the Juggernauts. They're African Americans. They're school teachers. They're very intelligent. The main MC, Breeze Bruin, is an incredible lyricist. You ever going to hear them on the radio? No. Maybe college radio, underground radio, but no, because it's not sex, drugs, rock and roll. That's what's mostly on the radio, right? Yes. It's pushing a specific stereotype. And I remember when I was in the music industry, I was part of it in a sense, when I would produce music videos for our artists. When the video is over, the chain comes off the rapper's neck and goes back to the jeweler. Yep. The fancy cars go back to the dealership. The clothes that they're wearing goes back to the stylist who brings it back to the shop. The pretty girls that are all over them in the video, they all go home at the end of the video. Yep. It's all smoke and mirrors. And what I realized is that I was part of that machine that was facilitating these negative stereotypes. And, you know, I don't want young people to see this. And I'm seeing the young people watch these videos and trying to imitate the artists, the rappers. Yes. And it's all fake. And that's what sells. And the industry is driven to push that stereotype. So, you know, people get caught up in it. And in a sense, like me, I feel like I became sick. You know, I felt like even in the industry side as an executive, the rappers have to do it. We had to do it. It was like keeping up with the Kardashians. I became very successful in the music industry at one point. And I don't come from money, actually. Like I said, I never went to university. I grew up across the street from a housing project out of, you know, south of Boston.
We're south of Boston.
Specifically, we want to get really into...
Not Charlestown.
Even further south. All right?
You're not robbing a bank out there.
Even further than Charlestown, okay? All the way down to Fall River, Massachusetts, home of Lizzie Borden, the axe murderer.
Oh, yeah, I know Fall River.
Yeah, okay. Fall River.
Thank you guys for checking out this clip. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and hit the like button on this video. It is a huge help. And if you'd like to check out this clip's full podcast episode, that link is in the description below or right here. And finally, you can follow me on Instagram and X by using the links in my description below.